Okay. Chapter 6, General Anatomy and Physiology. In this chapter, we will be discussing anatomy, we'll be talking about cells, we'll be talking about different things about the human body. This is a chapter that we haven't covered. I know I had you all read it while we were out, but we're going to be talking about bones of the face. We're going to be talking about muscles of the face and different things. And so this is a very interesting chapter. It's a difficult chapter because it's going to be some names in here that I can barely pronounce. And, it's a lot of things that, especially if you were to take the instructor's test, you have to know every last single one of these terms, every last one of them, because you're tested on them. All these bones, all these muscles, and if you don't know them, you fail.
And nerves too.
Yes, all of that, because it is a very, very difficult test. I mean, the instructor's test is difficult, but it's passable. Some people, it takes them 2-3 times. Some people never pass it. I was one of the lucky ones. I passed it the first time. And Miss Floyd passed it the first time. He was one of the lucky ones as well. So.
No.
Oh, you did?
No, I took the second time because the first time I was nervous.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you passed the first. Yeah, well, y'all see what I'm saying. It's difficult. That instructor's test is no joke. Anyway, I'm going to begin under LO1, where it says, why are anatomy and physiology important to you? Okay, so this high-level overview of human anatomy and physiology will provide you with a basic knowledge of the structure and functions of the human body to assist your performance in the barbering field. This chapter focuses on the anatomy and physiology that is pertinent to the practice of barbering, such as the anatomical, see, those got terms in here, structure of the head that provides a foundation for designing haircut and beard styles or performing a proper shave. This chapter will provide you with the definitions and map of the human body as a point of reference to be used when you discuss specific services later in the text. Anatomy is the study of the human body structures that can be seen with the naked eye and how the body parts are organized. It is the science of the structure of organisms or of their parts. Y'all need to remember that. Physiology is the study of the functions and activities performed by the body structures. The ending ology means study of. Y'all need to remember that. Barbers should be aware of the ways in which massage manipulations, heat, or absorptive products used in the practice of barbering might affect physiological activities of the body, such as increasing the circulations. Barbers should also be aware of certain physiological stresses caused by prolonged standing or repetitive movements that may affect their own skeletal or circulatory systems, as well as the preventative measures that can help minimize the occurrence of associated occupational disorders. Know about the cells. Cells are the basic units of all living things, from bacteria to plants to animals, including human beings. You need to remember that. Without cells, life does not exist. As a basic functional unit, the cell is responsible for carrying on all life processes. There are trillions of cells in the human body, and they vary widely in size, shape, and purpose. Basic structure of the cell. The cells of all living things are composed of a substance called protoplasm. Remember this. A colorless, jelly-like substance found inside cells in which food elements such as proteins, fats, carbohydrates, mineral salts, and water are present. You can visualize the protoplasm of a cell as being similar to a raw egg white. In addition to protoplasm, most cells also include a nucleus, cytoplasm, and the cell membrane. The nucleus is the dense, active protoplasm found in the center of the cell. It plays an important part in cell reproduction and metabolism. You can visualize the nucleus as the yolk of the middle of a raw egg. The cytoplasm is the watery fluid that surrounds the nucleus of the cell and is needed for growth, reproduction, and self-repair. It is part of the protoplasm of the cell. Y'all need to remember all of these things when it's talking about the nucleus, cytoplasm. All of these things are very important, especially when you go to take your test. The cell membrane is the cell wall that encloses the protoplasm and permits soluble substances to enter and leave the cell. Cell reproduction and division. Cells have the ability to reproduce, thus providing new cells for the growth and replacement of worn or injured ones. Mitosis is the usual process of cell reproduction of human tissues that occurs when the cell divides into two identical cells called daughter cells. Two small structures near the nucleus called centrioles move to each side during the mitosis process to help divide the cell. As long as conditions are favorable, the cell will grow and reproduce. Favorable conditions include an adequate supply of food, oxygen, and water, suitable temperatures, and the ability to eliminate waste products. If conditions become unfavorable, the cell will become impaired or may die. Unfavorable conditions include toxins, which are poisons, disease, or injury. Okay, identify types of tissues. Tissue is a collection of similar cells that perform a particular function. Each kind of tissue has a specific function and can be recognized by its characteristic appearance. Body tissues are composed of large amounts of water along with various other substances. There are 4 types of tissue in the body. Y'all gotta have to remember this. Connective tissue is fibrous tissue that binds together, protects, and supports the various parts of the body. Examples of connective tissue are bone, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, blood, lymph, and adipose tissue, a technical term for fat. Adipose tissues give smoothness and contour to the bodies. Epithelious tissue, y'all can get tissue, is a protective covering on body surfaces such as skin, mucous membranes, the tissue inside the mouth, the lining of the heart, digestive and respiratory organs, and the glands. Muscle tissue contracts and moves various parts of the body. Nerve tissue carries messages to and from the brain and controls and coordinates all bodily functions. Nerve tissue is composed of special cells known as neurons that make up the nerves, brain, and spinal cord. Discuss body systems and associated organs. Organs are structures composed of specialized tissues designed to perform specific functions in plants and animals. During the development of a fetus, tissues are assigned to specific functions in the body and they develop specifically for those functions. For example, lung tissue would not work as a part of the brain as it is designed to serve a specific function in the lungs. Body systems, also known as systems, are groups of body organs acting together to perform one or more functions. Table 6.1 outlines the body systems, indicating the functions of the system and the major organs that are associated with that system. Now, y'all gonna need to know all this. And as a matter of fact, we haven't had a test on these chapters because the last chapter we had a test on was 5 and 13. So this is gonna be a chapter that you're gonna take a test on with no book. This will not be an open book test. So that's going to be difficult. I am going to challenge you. So before we move on, are there any questions so far with what
why would you do that?
It's gonna be like that state board.
State board, you don't have no book.
Yeah, we got 6 months to 8
But
months.
that's why you gotta retain it.
When?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Challenge
We gotta
challenge
get
yourself. Challenge
Bro,
yourself,
it's
bro.
just turns, bro. Like, ain't nobody
Challenge
trip off the
yourself.
turns,
You
bro.
got it.
Ain't nobody trip off the turns, bro. Turns, bro.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Process of elimination.
Did you do this in the book?
Huh?
Did you do this one in the book?
It wasn't a book.
This chapter.
No,
Yeah.
it turns, bro.
Well, we did this chapter in the book, and what I'm telling you is, it's the last chapter we need. You know what? You ain't changing your mind.
Challenge
Go ahead.
yourself.
Thought about this.
I don't know, bro. It's just like that up there to me, bro. Like
Yeah.
running muscles, I do that already, so it ain't no different again.
Yeah. Well, and plus, like, y'all have had it easy through all these tests. I'm letting y'all have all these open book tests. It's time that I challenge y'all a little bit.
With this chapter.
Yes, with
There's
this.
a whole lot of money.
Yes, yeah, with this is gonna make up for all that easiness that y'all had.
But when I was in school, we didn't get no.
We didn't have no open book. I think we had one open book test my entire
Wow,
time.
you
we
said
was
you
in
was
school.
crazy. You
No,
said
we
you
ain't
was
have
doing
none.
it different.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. Review the skeletal system. The skeletal system forms the physical foundation of the body and is composed of 206 bones that vary in size and shape and are connected by movable and immovable joints. Osteology is the study of the anatomy, structure, and function of the bones. Os means bones, is used as a prefix in many medical terms such as osteoarthritis, a joint disease. Except for the tissue that forms the major part of the teeth, bone is the hardest tissue in the body. It is composed of connective tissue consisting of about 1/3 organic matter, such as cells and blood, and 2/3 minerals, mainly calcium carbonate and calcium phosphate. The primary function of the skeletal system are to give shape and support to the body, protect various internal structures and organs, serve as attachments for muscles and act as levers to protect the body movements, help produce both white and red blood cells, one of the functions of the bone marrow, store most of the body's calcium supply, as well as phosphorus, magnesium, and sodium. A joint is the connection between two or more bones of the skeleton. There are two types of joints: movable, such as elbows, knees, and hips, and immovable, such as joints found in the pelvis and skull, which allow little or no movement. These are exceptions to this condition, such as childbirth, where special hormones allow for flexibility in the pelvic joints. Bones of the skull. The skull is the skeleton of the head and is divided into two parts: cranium, an oval bony case that protects the brain; facial skeleton, the framework of the face that is composed of 14 bones. Bones of the cranium. The following are the 8 bones of the cranium. The occipital bone, hindmost bone of the skull below the parietal bones, forms the back of the skull above the nape. Parietal bones, bones that form the sides and top of the cranium. There are 2 parietal bones. Frontal bone, bone that forms the forehead. Temporal bones, bones that form the sides of the head in the ear region. There are 2 temporal bones. Ethmoid bone, light spongy bone between the eye socket, forms part of the nasal cavities. Sphenoid bone, bone that joins all of the bones of the cranium together. The ethmoid and sphenoid bones are not affected when performing services or giving a massage. And if you look at figure 6.4 here below, it gives the description of the location and a good picture of where all these bones are located. Okay. Bones of the face. There are 14 bones of the face, but those listed below are the most involved in the practice of barbering. Nasal bones, bones that form the bridge of the nose. There are 2 nasal bones. Lacrimal bones, small thin bones located at the front inner wall of the orbitus eye sockets. There are 2 lacrimal bones. Zygomatic bones, also known as malar bones or cheek bones, bones that form the prominence of the cheeks. There are 2 zygomatic bones. maxilla, I meant to say, singular maxilla, bones of the upper jaw. There are 2 maxillae. Mandible, lower jawbone, largest and strongest bone of the face. Bones of the neck. The main bones of the neck are the following: hyoid bone, U-shaped bone at the base of the tongue that supports the tongue and its muscles. Cervical vertebrae, the 7 bones of the top part of the vertebral column located in the neck region. The thorax or chest is the elastic bony cage consisting of the sternum, clavicle, scapula, and 12 pairs of ribs. This framework serves as a protective covering for the heart, lungs, and other delicate internal organs. And again, figure 6.5 below shows, all of those different terms that we just covered and their location on the human body. Bones of the shoulder, arm, and hand. Excuse me. Some of the major causes of chronic pain for barbers are related to the repetitive action of the shoulders, arms, and hands. The important bones of the shoulders, arms, and hands that barbers should know about include the following. The humerus is the largest bone of the arm, extends the shoulder to the elbow. The ulna is the inner and larger bone of the forearm, forms the elbow, and is located along the same side of the arm as the little finger. The radius bone is the smaller bone in the thumb side of the forearm. The carpus or wrist is a flexible joint composed of 8 small irregular bones held together by ligaments. The metacarpals are the bones of the palm, consisting of 5 slender bones between the carpus and the phalanges. The phalanges are the bones of the fingers, consisting of 3 in each finger and 2 in the thumb, totaling 14 bones in each hand. Yeah, y'all test gonna be difficult. The muscular system.
10 questions?
Huh?
10 questions?
Oh, this one here gonna be probably about 75 questions. The muscular system.
Y'all got it?
Yeah. Because it's a lot to cover, so yeah, it's gonna be a lot of questions. The muscular system covers, shapes, and supports the skeleton and its functions. Covers, shapes, and supports the skeleton, and its function is to help produce movement within the body. Myology is the study of the structure, functioning, and diseases of the muscles. The muscular system consists of over 600 large and small muscles that comprise 40 to 50% of the body's weight. Muscles are composed of contractile, fibrous tissues that stretch and contract to facilitate the action of various body movements. The muscular system relies upon the skeletal and nervous system for its activities and proper operation. There are 3 types of muscular tissues. Striped or voluntary muscle contains nerves, are attached to bones, and are controlled by will. For example, the face consists of many voluntary muscles that facilitate expression. Non-striated, smooth, or involuntary muscle functions without the action of the will. These muscles are found in the internal organs of the body, such as the stomach and intestines. Cardiac muscles is the heart itself, an involuntary muscle that straightens and straightens and centrally located nuclei. It is not duplicated anywhere else in the body. Muscle structure. When a muscle contracts and shortens, one of its attachments usually remains fixed and the other one moves. A muscle has 3 parts. Origin, the part of the muscle that does not move and is attached closest to the skeleton. Belly, the middle part of the muscle. Insertion, the part of the muscle that moves and is furthest from the skeleton. We are now recording. So, continuing on with chapter 6, muscle structure on page 151. When a muscle contracts and shortens, one of its attachments usually remains fixed and the other one moves. A muscle has three parts. Origin, the part of the muscle that does not move, it's attached closest to the skeleton. Belly, the middle part of the muscle. Insertion, the part of the muscle that moves and is furthest from the skeleton. Stimulation of muscles. Muscular tissue can be stimulated by massage, hand, electric vibrator, or water jets. Electrical therapy current. See Chapter 8, Basics of Electricity for additional information on types of electrical therapy current. Infrared light. Dry heat, heating lamps or heating caps. Moist heat, steamers or mildly warm steam towels. Nerve impulses through the nervous system. Chemicals, certain acids and salts. Muscles of the scalp, face, and neck. The performance of professional services such as scalp, facial, and neck massages requires barbers to know the location of the voluntary muscles of the head, face, and neck and functions of these muscles control. Muscles of the scalp. The four muscles of the scalp are the following. Epicranius, also known as occipital frontalis. Broad muscle that covers the top of the skull and consists of the occipitalis and frontalis. Occipitalis, back posterior portion of the epicranius, the muscle that draws the scalp backwards. Frontalis, front anterior portion of the epicranius, the muscle of the scalp that raises the eyebrows, draws the scalp forward, and causes wrinkles across the forehead. Epicranial aponeurosis, there it is, neurosis, tendon that connects the occipitalis and frontalis muscles. As y'all can see, there is a description of these muscles that we just spoke about right here in figure 6.9 up on the bottom of that page. And then when you go over here to figure 6.11 on page 153, it also gives some other descriptions of other muscles that we're about to talk about. So, muscles of the ear. The three muscles of the ear are the following. Iris circulus superior, muscle above the ear that draws the ear upward. Auricularis anterior, muscle in front of the ear that draws the ear forward. Auricularis posterior, muscle behind the ear that draws the ear backwards. Muscles of mastication, chewing. The main muscles of mastication, also known as the chewing muscles, are the following. Masseter, temporalis. These muscles coordinate to open and close the mouth and bring the jaw forward or backward, assisted by the thoracoid muscles. The two major muscles of the neck are the following. Platysma is a broad muscle extending from the chest and shoulder muscles to the side of the chin and is responsible for depressing the lower jaw and lip. Ooh, this is a long one. Sternocleidomastoid is this.
Sternocleidomastoid.
There you go. Is the muscle extending from the collar and chest bones to the temporal bone at the back of the ear. This muscle bends and rotates the head. Muscles of the eye. I keep messing up with this one here. Orbicularis oculi muscle. Ring muscle of the eye socket enables you to close your eyes. Corrugator muscle. Muscle located beneath the frontalis and orbicularis oculi muscle that draws the eyebrow down and wrinkles the forehead vertically. Levator palpebrae superioris muscle. I got that one. The thin muscle that controls the eyelid and can easily be damaged during massage or makeup application. Muscles of the nose. The procerus covers the top of the nose, depresses the eyebrow, and causes wrinkles across the bridge of the nose. The other nasal muscles are small muscles around the nasal openings, which contract and expand the opening of the nostrils. Muscles of the mouth. The important muscles of the mouth are the following. The buccinator muscle, thin, flat muscle of the cheek between the upper and lower jaw that compresses the cheeks and expels air between the lip. Depressor labii inferioris muscle, also known as the quadratus labii inferioris muscle. Muscle surrounding the lower lip lowers the lower lip and draws it to one side expressing sarcasm. Levator anguli oris muscle, also known as the canis muscle. Caninus muscle. Muscle that raises the angle of the mouth and draws it inward. Levator labii superius muscle is also known as the quadratus labii superius muscle. Muscle surrounding the lower upper lip elevates the upper lip and dilates the nostrils as in expressing distaste. Mentalis muscle. Muscle that elevates the lower lip and raises the wrinkles of the skin of the chin. Orbicularis oris muscle. Flat band of muscle around the upper and lower lip that compresses, contracts, puckers, and wrinkles the lips. Rhizoris muscle. Muscle of the mouth that draws the corner of the mouth out and back as in grinning. Triangularis muscle. Muscle extending alongside the chin that pulls down the corner of the mouth. Zygomatic major muscles. Muscles on both sides of the face that extend from the zygomatic bone to the angle of the mouth. These muscles pull the mouth upward and backward, as when you are laughing or smiling. Zygomaticus minor muscles. Muscles on both sides of the face that extend the zygomatic bone to the upper lips. These muscles pull the upper lip backwards, upward, and outward, as when you are smiling. Muscles that attach the arm to the body. The muscles that attach the arm to the body are the following. Latissimus muscle, dorsi. Large flat triangular muscle covering the lower back. It helps extend the arm away from the body and rotate the shoulder. Pectoralis major and pectoralis minor are muscles of the chest that assist the swinging movements of the arm. Serratus anterior muscle is the muscle of the chest that assists in breathing and in raising the arm. Trapezius, muscle that covers the back of the neck and the upper and middle region of the back, rotates and controls swinging movements of the arm. Muscles of the shoulder and arm. There are three principal muscles of the shoulders and upper arm. Bicep, muscle that produces the contour of the front and inner side of the upper arm, lifts the forearm and flexes the elbow. Deltoid, large triangular muscle covering the shoulder joint that allows the arm to extend outward and to the side of the body. And again, you have a diagram up under this that shows these different muscles that we just spoke about of the arms. And over here on the side in figure 611 and 612, you can see the muscles also that we just spoke about of the anterior and the posterior. Now, flipping over. The tricep is also another muscle that's in that. It is the large muscle that covers the entire back of the upper arm and extends the forearm. The forearm is made up of a series of muscles and strong tendons. As a barber, you will be concerned with the following muscles of the forearm. Extensors, muscles that straighten the wrist, hand, and fingers to form a straight line. Flexor, extensor muscle of the wrist involved in flexing the wrist. Pronator, muscle that turns the hand inward so that the palm faces downward. Supinator, muscle of the forearm that rotates the radius outwards and the palm upward. Muscles of the hand. The hand is one of the most complex parts of the body, with many small muscles that overlap from joint to joint and provide flexibility and strength to open and close the hand and fingers. Important muscles to know include the following. Abductors, muscles that draw a body part such as a finger, arm, or toe away from the midline of the body or of an extremity. In the hand, abductors separate the fingers. Adductors, muscle that draw a body part such as a finger, arm, or toe inward towards the median axis of the body or an extremity. In the hand, adductors draw the fingers together. Review the nervous system. Neurology is the study of the structure, function, and pathology of the nervous system. The nervous system is one of the most important systems of the body. It controls and coordinates the functions of all the other systems and makes them work harmoniously and efficiently. Every square inch of the human body is supplied with fine fibers known as nerves. An understanding of how nerves work will help barbers perform their massage services associated with shampoos, scalp treatments, and facials. It will also help increase awareness of the effects these treatments can have on the skin, the scalp, and the body as a whole. Divisions of the nervous system. The principal components of the nervous system are the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves themselves. The nervous system is divided into two main subdivisions, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain, cranial nerves, spinal cord, and spinal nerves. It controls consciousness and all mental activities. The functions of the five senses and voluntary muscle actions, including all body movements and facial expressions. The peripheral nervous system, also known as the PNS, is made up of sensory and motor nerve fibers that extend from the brain and spinal cord to all parts of the body. Their function is to carry impulses or messages to and from the central nervous system. Subdivisions of the peripheral nervous system are the autonomic and somatic nervous systems, which control involuntary and voluntary functions and actions. The brain and spinal cord. The brain is the part of the central nervous system contained in the cranium. It is the largest and most complex organization of nerve tissue and controls sensation, muscles, activity of glands, and the power to think, sense, and feel. On average, the brain weighs a little less than 3 pounds. It sends and receives messages through 12 pairs of cranial nerves that originate in the brain and reach various parts of the head, face, and neck. The spinal cord is the portion of the central nervous system that originates in the brain and extends down to the lower extremity of the trunk. It is protected by the spinal column. 31 pairs of spinal nerves extending from the spinal cord are distributed to the muscles and skin and of the trunk and limbs. Okay. Any questions so far?
Just a bunch of words I'm gonna have a hard time remembering.
That's right. That's right. A lot to remember here. A lot to remember in this chapter. Okay, moving on. Nerve cell structure and function. A neuron, also known as nerve cell, is the primary structural unit of the nervous system, consisting of the cell body, nucleus, dendrites, and the axon. Dendrites are tree-like branchings of nerve fibers extending from the nerve cell that carry impulses toward the cell and receive impulses from other neurons. The axon and axon terminal are extensions of the neuron through which impulses are sent away from the cell body to other neurons, glands, or muscles. Nerves are whitish cords that are made up of bundles of nerve fibers held together by connective tissue through which impulses are transmitted. Nerves have their origin in the brain and spinal cord and send their branches to all parts of the body. Types of nerves. There are two types of nerves. Sensory nerves, also known as afferent nerves, carry impulses or messages from the sense organs, where sensations such as touch, cold, heat, sight, hearing, taste, smell, pain, and pressure are experienced. Sensory nerve endings are called receptors, are located close to the surface of the skin. Impulses pass from the sensory nerves to the brain and back through the motor nerves to the muscles. The muscles move as a result of the completed circuit. Motor nerves, also known as efferent nerves, carry impulses from the brain to the muscles or glands. These transmitted impulses produce movement. A reflex is the automatic reaction to a stimulus that involves the movement of an impulse from a sensory receptor along the sensory nerve to the spinal cord. A responsive impulse is sent along a motor neuron to a muscle, causing a reaction. Example, the quick removal of your hand from a hot object. Reflexes do not have to be learned. They are automatic. Okay, going down. Okay, let me, before I do that. Right here in the corner, figure 616 is an example of a neuron or nerve cell. But going on to nerves of the head, face, and neck. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves. All are connected to a part of the brain surface. They emerge through openings on the sides of the base of the cranium and reach various parts of the head, face, and neck. The largest of the cranial nerves is the fifth cranial nerve, also known as the trifacial nerve or trigeminal nerve. It is the chief sensory nerve of the face and serves as the motor nerve of the muscles that control chewing. It consists of 3 branches. Never mind. Okay. Let me do this right. Ophthalmic nerve supplies impulses to the skin of the forehead, upper eyelids, and interior portion of the scalp, orbit, eyeball, and nasal passage. Mandibular nerve affects the muscles of the chin, lower lip, and external ear. Maxillary nerve supplies impulses to the upper part of the face. And up under this, there is another description of those different nerves and different things that we just spoke about in figure 617, nerves of the head, face, and neck. Okay. The following of the branches of the fifth cranial nerve that are affected by massage. Auriculotemporal nerve affects the external ear and skin above the temple up to the top of the skull. Infraorbital nerve affects the skin of the lower eyelid, side of the nose, upper lip, and mouth. Infratrochlear nerve affects the membrane and skin of the nose. Mental nerve affects the skin of the lower lip and chin. Nasal nerve affects the tip and lower side of the nose. Supraorbital nerve affects the skin of the forehead, scalp, eyebrow, and upper eyelid. Supratrochlear nerve affects the skin between the eyes and upper side of the nose. Zygomatic nerve affects the muscles of the upper part of the cheek. The seventh cranial nerve, also known as the facial nerve, is the chief motor nerve of the face. Imagine going and taking your instructor's test and having to remember all of these nerves while you're giving a facial to somebody. And they're asking you, like, what are you doing? What nerve are you on? What bone are you on? Tell me what you do with this nerve. Tell me why this affects the massage treatment or whatever. That's what you go through when you take your instructor's test.
I'm okay with being a regular barber. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, most people are. That's why most people don't pass it the first time they take it.
I can see.
Yeah, because you have to remember all of this along with everything else in the book.
So how much of this is actually on the test?
All of it.
So Dave, said you passed it since the first time?
Yeah, I did. I passed it. I was one of the lucky ones.
Both of them?
Yes, the written and the.
He thinks you
And
don't know.
So how'd you study, like, what's your method?
I read this book.
The regular test.
Huh?
The regular test that we're going
This
to
is
make
not
you
gonna be on.
barbers.
No. I mean,
Okay.
some of this is gonna be on there, but not all of it.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the instructor's test, yeah. But yeah, I studied this book for about 3 months straight before I took my instructor's test. In divisions, okay, let me keep going. Its divisions and their branches supply and control all of the muscles of facial expression. It emerges near the lower part of the ear and extends to the muscles of the neck. The following are the most important branches of the facial nerve. But they tell you when you go take your instructor's test, we expect you to know this. If you're gonna be teaching people, we expect you to know this, and we're not giving you any slack. So that's why they expect you to know every single detail of everything in this book. That's why you have to study like crazy. So anyway, posterior auricular nerve affects the muscles behind the ear at the base of the skull. Temporal nerve affects the muscles of the temple, side of the forehead, eyebrow, eyelid, and upper part of the cheek. Zygomatic nerve, upper and lower, affects the muscle of the upper part of the cheek. Buccal nerve affects the muscles of the mouth. Marginal mandibular nerve affects the muscles of the chin and lower lip. The 11th cranial nerve, also known as the accessory nerve, is a motor nerve that controls the motion of the neck and shoulder muscles. This nerve is important to barbers because it is affected during facials, primarily when you are giving a massage to your client. Cervical nerves. The cervical or spinal nerves originate in the spinal cord. Their branches supply the muscles and scalp at the back of the head and neck as follows. The greater occipital nerve is located at the back of the head and affects the scalp as far up as the top of the head. The smaller occipital nerve is located at the base of the skull and affects the scalp and muscles of this region. The greater auricular nerve is located at the side of the neck and affects the external ears and areas in front of the and back of the ears. The cervical, the cervical cutaneous nerve is located at the side of the neck and affects the front side of the neck as far down as the breastbone. Okay, review the circulatory system. The circulatory system, also known as the cardiovascular system, or vascular system, controls the steady circulation of the blood through the body by means of heart and blood vessels. The circulatory system consists of the heart, arteries, veins, and capillaries that distribute blood throughout the body. The heart is a muscular cone-shaped organ that keeps the blood moving within the circulatory system. It is often referred to as the body's pump. The heart is approximately the size of a closed fist, weighs about 9 ounces, and is located in the chest cavity. A normal adult heart beats about 60 to 80 times per minute, but it can be as high as 100 times per minute when necessary and as low as 50 beats per minute in very physically fit individuals. Heart rate norms vary with age and fitness. The blood is in constant and continuous circulation from the time that it leaves the heart. It is distributed throughout the body to deliver nutrients and oxygen and then returns to the heart to be replenished with oxygen. Two systems are important to this circulation. Pulmonary circulation takes deoxygenated blood to the lungs for oxygenation and waste removal, and then returns the blood from the heart to the heart, left atrium, so oxygen-rich blood can be delivered to the body. Systematic circulation, also known as general circulation, carries the oxygen-rich blood from the heart throughout the body and returns the oxygenated blood back to the heart. Blood vessels. The blood vessels are tube-like structures that include the arteries, arterioles, capillaries, venules, and veins. The function of these vessels is to transport blood to and from the heart and then to various tissues of the body. The type of blood vessels found in the body are arteries, thick-walled, muscular, flexible tubes that carry oxygenated blood away from the heart, and arterioles, and the largest artery in the body is the aorta. Arterioles, small arteries that deliver blood, and capillaries, tiny, thin-walled blood vessels that connect the smaller arteries, and venules. Capillaries bring nutrients to the cells and carry away waste materials. Venules, small vessels that connect the capillaries to the veins. They connect blood from the capillaries and drain into the veins. Veins, thin-walled blood vessels that are less elastic than arteries. Veins contain cup-like valves that keep blood flowing in one direction to the heart and prevent blood from flowing backwards. Veins carry blood containing waste products back to the heart and lungs for cleaning and to pick up oxygen. Veins are located closer to the outer skin surface of the body than the arteries. Okay, now, figure 621 is another description of kind of what we just talked about. The different ways that blood flows through your body. As y'all can see, with the red part is the oxygen-rich blood, and the blue is the oxygen-poor blood. And it, like I said, just kind of gives a description of what that was that we just spoke about. You won't have pictures and descriptions like this on the test, so y'all will be all right. So, blood. Blood is a nutritive fluid circulating through the circulatory system to supply oxygen and nutrients to cells and tissues and to remove carbon dioxide and waste from them. There are approximately 8 to 10 pints of blood in the human body, which contribute to about 1/20 of the body's weight. Blood is approximately 80% water. It is a sticky and salty with normal temperature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a bright red in the arteries except for the pulmonary artery. It is in dark red in the veins. The color change occurs with the exchange of carbon dioxide for oxygen and as the blood passes through the lungs, and again with the exchange of oxygen for carbon dioxide as the blood circulates through the body. Chief functions of blood. Blood performs the following critical functions. Carries water, oxygen, and food to all cells and tissues of the body. carries away carbon dioxide and waste products to be eliminated through the lungs, skin, kidneys, and large intestines. Helps equalize the body's temperature, thus protecting the body from extreme heat and cold. Works with the immune system to protect the body from harmful toxins and bacteria. Seals leaks found in injured blood vessels by forming clots, thus preventing further blood loss. Arteries of the head, face, and neck. The common carotid arteries. Carotid. I'm trying to read this thing over here. Okay, are the main arteries that supply blood to the head, face, and neck. They are located on both sides of the neck, and each artery is divided into an internal and external branch. The internal how y'all say it? Carotid artery, there you go, supplies the blood to the brain, eyes, eyelids, forehead, nose, and internal ear. The external carotid artery, I got it that time, supplies blood to the anterior parts of the scalp, ears, face, neck, sides of the head. And again, another description up under here, figure 622. You can get idea of kind of what it's talking about. Okay. Yes, sir.
On our test, state board test.
Yes.
Will it have figures and we have to fill in the
No,
blanks,
no.
or just be straight questions?
No, straight questions, multiple choice. There'll be no pictures, no pictures.
Okay, good.
Okay. Moving right along. Any more questions? Okay, moving right along. Two branches of the internal carotid artery, carotid, I'm sorry, I was checking to make sure y'all was paying attention, that are important to know are the following. Supraorbital artery supplies blood to the upper eyelid and forehead. Infraorbital artery supplies blood to the muscles of the eye. There are four branches of the external carotid, there you go. I'll make sure y'all paying attention. Carotid artery are facial artery, the superficial temporal artery, the occipital artery, and the posterior auricular artery. The facial artery, also known as external maxillary artery, supplies blood to the lower region of the face, mouth, and nose. Some of the important facial artery branches include submental artery, supplies blood to the chin and lower lip. Inferior labial artery supplies blood to the lower lip. Angular artery supplies blood to the side of the nose. Superior lateral artery supplies blood to the upper lip and region of the nose. Superficial temporal artery is a continuation of the external carotid, there you go, artery that supplies blood to the muscles of the front, side, and top of the head. Some of the important superficial temporal artery branches include frontal artery supplies blood to the forehead and upper eyelids. Parietal artery supplies blood to the side of the crown of the head. Transverse facial artery supplies blood to the skin and masseter muscle. Middle temporal artery supplies blood to the temples. Anterior auricular artery supplies blood to the front part of the ear. The occipital artery supplies blood to the skin and muscles of the scalp and back of the head up to the crown. Posterior auricular artery supplies blood to the scalp, the area behind the ear, and the skin behind the ear. Veins of the head, face, and neck. The blood returning to the heart from the head, face, and neck flows on each side of the neck into principal veins. The internal jugular vein is located at the side of the neck and to collect blood from the brain and parts of the face and neck. External jugular vein is located at the side of the neck and carries blood returning to the heart from the head, face, and neck. The most important veins of the face and neck are parallel to the arteries and to take the same names as the arteries. Okay. Review the lymphatic immune system. The lymphatic immune system is made up of lymph nodes, and thymus gland, and the spleen and lymph vessels. The lymphatic immune system carries waste and impurities away from the cells and protects the bodies from disease by developing immunity and destroying disease-causing microorganisms. The lymph is a clear fluid that circulates in the lymph spaces, lymphatics of the body. Lymph carries away waste and impurities away from the cells before it is routed back into the circulatory system. The lymphatic immune system drains the tissue spaces of excess interstitial fluid. which is blood plasma found in the spaces between tissue cells. The lymphatic immune system is closely connected to the cardiovascular system. They both transport streams of fluid like rivers throughout the body. The difference is that the lymphatic immune system transports lymph, which eventually returns to the blood where it originated. Lymphatic vessels start as tubes that are closed at one end. They occur individually or in clusters that are called lymph capillaries. Blind end tubes that are the origin of lymphatic vessels. The lymph capillaries are distributed throughout most of the body except the nervous system. Lymph nodes are gland-like structures found inside lymphatic vessels. Lymph nodes filter the lymphatic vessels, which helps fight infection. The primary functions of the lymphatic immune system are to carry nourishment from the blood to the body cells, act as a defense against toxins and bacteria, and remove byproducts of infection such as pus and dead tissue. Remove waste material from the body cells to the blood, provide a suitable fluid environment for the cells. Okay, now review the integumentary system. So, okay, the integumentary system consists of the skin and its accessory organs such as the oil and sweat glands, sensory receptors, hair, and nails. It is a very complex system that serves as a protective covering and helps regulate the body's temperature. The word integument means natural covering. So you can think of the skin as a protective overcoat for your body against the outside elements that you encounter every day, such as germs, chemical, and sun exposure. The skin is also water resistant. Skin structure and growth are discussed in detail in chapter 9, the skin structures, disorder, and diseases. Review the endocrine system. The endocrine system is a group of specialized glands that affect the growth, development, sexual functions, and health of the entire body. The glands are secretory gland organs that remove and release certain elements from the blood to convert them into new compounds. There are two types of glands. The endocrine glands, known as ductless glands, such as the thyroid and pituitary glands, release hormonal secretions directly into the bloodstream. Exocrine glands, also known as duct glands, such as sweat and oil glands of the skin, produce a substance that travels through small tube-like ducts. Now, again, hormones, such as insulin, adrenaline, and estrogen, that stimulate functional activities and other secretions in the body. Hormones influence the welfare of the entire body. And again, another description, figure 625, of the endocrine glands and other body organs. Y'all can look over that as well. But moving right along, because we're about finished with this chapter. Review the reproductive system. The reproductive system includes the ovaries, uterine tubes, uterus, the vagina in the female, and the testes, prostate gland, penis, urethra, and in the male. This system performs the function of producing offspring, and passing on the genetic code from one generation to another. The reproductive system produces hormones, primarily estrogen in females and primarily testosterone in males. These hormones affect and change the skin in several ways. Acne, loss of scalp hair, facial hair growth and color, and darker skin pigmentations are some of the results of changing or fluctuating of hormones. Now, we made it through chapter 6.